Okay, SLUK fans, this is the latest Vespa GTS. It's the RST22, and it's the model that came out late last year. If you know your GTSs, then you'll know this is quite a significant update. It's not just a facelift, it's virtually a complete new model. New bodywork, new panels, new instruments, upgraded engine. Well, certainly the mapping of the engine's been changed. Lots of different little details, like all the black bar ends, black mirrors, black detailing everywhere really. Now, I expected to jump on this and not be really overly impressed. I thought it'd be a HPE with maybe a bit of new styling, but it is a fantastic model. I was very, very surprised. It handles well. That's thanks to the new forks with anti-dive, which replaces the older forks. That's a big improvement. The braking's improved with Brembo calipers and master cylinders. They're certainly an improvement. The engine, the mapping's fantastic, so you're not hitting the rev limiter all the time, because the rev limiter used to wind me up on the older models, especially the HPE. That's probably the worst of the lot. Speed-wise, I've just had my app on actually. Maximum speed I've just had on this is 80.4. On the dash before I'd got 88, and I'm pretty sure you get 82 in the right conditions as a genuine speed. On the actual speedo you'll see 90, 91, but in reality you're probably doing 82 miles an hour, which is still good. Now I'm taking this back to Piaggio, but I liked it that much that I asked them if I could keep it for a bit longer, but unfortunately they want it back. And testament to this model is would I personally trade my current GTS up and buy the RST22? And without a doubt, if you'd asked me that with the original HPE, then I don't think I would have done. I currently ride a 250, although I've had all sorts of GTSs, every model since they first came out in 2005. And I'd say, without a doubt, this is the best all-round GTS that's ever been produced, and that's quite a big statement. We've got the SuperSport model here. The models for this current range, there's the GTS 300 is 6,200, then you've got the GTS 300 Super at 6,300, this SuperSport at 6,450, and then the SuperTech with the high spec screen with sat nav is 6,600. Even on finance, this you can buy it for 82 quid a month, which is nothing really. So it's certainly worth having a look at your local dealer. And if you're thinking of buying your first GTS, make it the RST22. You can't go wrong. If you're thinking of trading up, speak to your local dealer, and I'm sure he'd be happy to do a deal on one. But I think that's probably about it. You can see what's on the rest of the video. Got a bit of road testing. We've also got a full written road test on ScooterLab.UK. T-shirts are available, and I really am impressed. So go and buy one. What a beautiful day to be riding scooters. We've just picked up this GTS 300 SuperSport. It's the latest 2023 model. And I think you'll agree it looks pretty nice. Comes with keyless ignition, which the other one did, to be fair. Nice new dash, plenty of black bits, nice metallic green colour. And we've got it for a couple of weeks. Currently got 152 miles on the clock, and as you'd expect, feels nice and new. It's the first time I've ridden this particular model, and if you're familiar with GTSs, you'll know that on this new version, RS22 I think it's called, nothing from the old model fits accessory wise. So if you've got an old screen, it won't fit, apart from the SLUK screens that we do, which we've made to work with this model. Our driver fits straight on, and the shorty screen we do, we just had to modify slightly to clear the headlight. So you can reuse your driver if you already own one. If you own a genuine screen from an older model, then you won't be able to use it. Same with back racks, various other things. I think the only thing that probably fits is the exhaust. I don't think levers fit or anything. Which is quite good if you're selling scooters, because everyone needs the new accessories for it.
The only slight downside for a dealer is with the SuperSport, it's got pretty much everything in black that you end up changing normally as a custom job. Stuff like leg shield trim, that's black, mirrors are black, exhaust black, headlights surrounds black. The only bits of chrome really are this switch gear and the alloy levers. It looks beautiful really, this SuperSport, without even having to spend any extra money on it, which is just as well when it's about £6.5 grand. Those of you who are familiar with the retro side of ScooterLab, what we do a lot of is scooter rallies, although we tend to do most of them on our classic machines, old Vespas and Lambrettas. But we will be using this one later this week to go to Western-super-Mare, which is probably about 350 mile round trip, something like that. So it gives this some decent mileage and quite nice to have it as part of our test. And the GTS is one scooter that you certainly can ride miles on. It's comfortable for all day riding, the engine's fantastic, not too thirsty, and you can arrive somewhere doing a couple of 100 miles and you still feel right as rain. It's an easy scooter to live with, an easy scooter to ride. I really do love it, yes. Cool, feel me? Yes, and you? And if you're a GTS fan, virtually every single panel, every fitting on this scooter is different to the old HPE, which has only been out a couple of years anyway. There's not a lot, when you look closely at it, there's not a lot that's the same as the old version. Things don't fit like accessories and that type of stuff. And not only is it a significant aesthetic update, it's also a fantastic machine. I'd go as far as to say this is the most impressive GTS that Vespa have produced to date. That's quite a big statement really. I've had GTSs myself since the very first ones came out in 2006. I've still got a GTS 250. I've had every incarnation from that date onwards. The 300 when that first came out, the new updated 300, the facelift 300, the 2015 300 with the forks that were updated and didn't really last very long. Not owned an HPE, but ridden them, tested them. The HPE when it first came out had a few limitations. Mainly for me was the way that the engine power was cut. It was the worst rev limiter of any GTS, really intrusive and spoilt the riding experience. You know, you're sort of sitting on a motorway and you want to be able to have the throttle wide open, but on that you just couldn't because it was just bouncing off the rev limiter all the time. So when I had a long-term HPE, I fitted a speed wheel to it, which stops you hitting the rev limiter. Brought the speedo into line with what the actual speed was in real life and made the scooter a lot better to ride. Now this new RST22, I've done nearly 600 miles on it, and a lot of that mileage, probably 400 odd, has been on motorways. So I've really given it a good thrashing. I've wrung its neck as much as possible, and it's not once hit the rev limiter. Now that to me makes this scooter worth buying on its own, just such a much nicer ride. You're not going any faster than you would be bouncing off the Revolution on an ordinary HPE, but it just feels a lot nicer to have something smooth. So the mapping on this really has made a big difference. Now the other thing that's good on this is the brakes have been upgraded to Brembo master cylinders and calipers, I believe, after problems with the HPE with a few things like there was losing pressure and stuff. So it's a lot better braking system, feel really good, sharp. And the other thing is the suspension's been updated. That's another big thing that's let the GTS down in the past. Front forks, but this one now comes with anti-dive, and it's a much better ride as a result. I really like the keyless ignition on this scooter as well. Some scooters it tends to be a bit of a faff and isn't very user friendly, but with this one, got a key in your pocket, press the ignition button there, get the welcome message, turn the ignition knob, that's it, you're ready to ride. Press the start button and we're off. Nice and easy, no faffing, and in this case I think keyless ignition is worth having. They ought to watch where they're going. The HPE High Performance Engine, as the acronym stands for, is quite a decent lump, quite a bit of torque, pulls away really nicely, it's nice and smooth, decent top end, it's very good on fuel, certainly better than the older GTS. On the clock there it's still got 147 miles to the tank range, but that depends where and how you're riding. I'm going to be on the motorway again soon because I'm just taking this back down to Piaggio, and I'll be sorry to see it go really. With the older HPE I never felt like I needed a new GTS, mainly because of that horrible rev limiter, but this one's a completely different beast. Certainly got everything I'd need in a GTS really, and with a SuperSport you're getting all these black accessories that you'd normally spend quite a bit of money changing if you wanted to customise your scooter, so you're saving quite a bit of money there. It's only about 200 quid more than the Super. Not a big gap amongst them anymore, whereas when the first SuperTech came out, I think there's about 600 or 800 quid between the, and basically you're getting a bit of styling and the fancy clocks. This one's got the decent dashboard, but it's not got the full SuperTech screen, so it's whether you want to spend that extra couple hundred quid and get that or not. If you're doing a lot of stuff like where you need to find places, addresses, bed and breakfast, if you're going on rallies, campsites, that kind of thing, then it is worth having the SuperTech just for that sat nav function. But a lot of people just stick a quad lock or something on the mirrors and use a phone for navigation these days. Not many people tend to use the actual full-on sat navs anymore. So for my money, I think I'd be going for a SuperSport. Why I chose this when I asked Piaggio if I could borrow a scooter for a few weeks. I had the choice of a SuperSport or SuperTech, and I think I just like the styling of this one. I like the colours. There's about 6 different colours in this, from white to black to a lovely orangey red, so you've got quite a good choice, and it just does everything you need, I think. So if you're a current GTS owner, even if you've bought a couple of year old HP or something, I'd certainly suggest trading up. I think it's well worth it in this case. This is the GTS that the HP should have been really. I think they made a few mistakes with that one. It was good enough at the time, but this is a big improvement. And if you're somebody that's never had a GTS before, then you'll come into this. I think you'll absolutely love it. Another thing with this, the seats are really comfortable in comparison to some of the older ones. The original seats were really good. I like the 250 seat, the first 300s, and then they seem to get progressively less comfortable. I don't know why, but this one's been fine for me, and I did sort of 400 miles going to Weston-super-Mare and back on the motorway the weekend before last, and had no problems with the comfort. It handled really nicely. The new forks make a big difference. The brakes are good. It looks pleasing on the eye. The colours are nice. The only thing is it's quite expensive, but everything's gone up since Brexit and everything's gone up since COVID. But I feel with this one you are buying a premium product at last. So get yourself out to your nearest Piaggio dealer, see if they've got a demo on stock. A lot of the bigger shops will have. Give one a try and tell them ScooterLab sent you, because we're really impressed. Enjoy it. Just for comparison, I've just jumped back on my GTS 250 after the RST22, and straight away it just feels a bit old, really. I mean, it is old, it's 2006 model, but I love riding it. But after jumping off that one, it's like a different machine from a different age. The forks don't feel very nice, a little bit clunky. The engine's not as smooth or as responsive. Brakes feel a bit wooden, whereas the other ones got plenty of bite. So this shows you how these models have come on over the years. Of course, no ABS or traction control on the old models like this one. And the other thing with the older models is if you live in London, you'll get charged ULEZ to go into, which is a big selling point for any new scooter these days. Alright, bye for now. That's not very nice, is it? I wish I'd put my waterproof on.